We asked you guys to send in your own alien experiences.
I have a couple of my own UFO sighting stories. All of a sudden in the sky, I see this perfectly circled, just like sphere, like bright blue in color. It's almost like the other people there, like
In a trance.
they're in a trance, because I was the only one that was like freaking out about it. Everyone was acting like it was perfectly normal.
I had never had an experience until you and I were in San Pasqual. It's moving very slowly across the sky.
I remember looking at the star, and then I remember getting in the car, but I don't remember what happened in the middle while I was holding the equipment, like where it could have possibly gone. Its craft was the same color as the night sky, and the circles were the same color as the stars in the sky.
Almost like camouflaged.
Like a cloak. So many people, after they have experiences, they get visited by the men in black. People think they're like not real people, aliens themselves. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome.
I forgot to put on pants.
There we go.
Make sure my pockets are tucked in.
Alright,
Let's try this one more time.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, we're Mackie and Amanda. I'm Mackie.
I'm Amanda.
And we're the Spooky Boos. I'm excited for this video. It's my turn to say that line.
I'm all flustered after that. I'm still, as usual, involving aliens. A wee bit nervioso.
Yeah, it is always like nerve-wracking. I was thinking about it when we were going to sleep last night. Just like the whole alien thing. I'm like, what if I was abducted like right now and I like don't even know because it's just missing time.
I'm sleeping peacefully. Yeah. Well, we asked you guys last night to send in your own alien experiences, stories, photos, anything that you might have, and just from last night we got some crazy ones. If you want us to do a part 2, send some into our email. You went through and picked these.
Yes, I chose all the alien ones because I'm obsessed. Oh my god, I just hit the reflex on my knee. Did you see that?
I did see it.
Because I'm obsessed with aliens.
I'm not super excited to hear them. I'm super excited for you.
Thank you.
Of course. Enjoy this, and I guess I'll sit quietly and cry.
Okay.
Weep.
It's just about weeping. But first I want to say how shocked we were about the amount of stories we received in such a short amount of time.
I think that's what scared me the most. I didn't even want to bring it up. We get a lot of ghost stories sent in, but the amount of similar ones that came in really shocked me.
Yeah, it was like a crazy amount. We thought it was maybe gonna be like 10, but
how many do you think we got?
Oh my god, probably like 80. Yeah, and they're all like, so many of them are so similar, like you were saying. So it just exactly what these people are describing they saw. Like 50 people saw this exact same thing. So it's just crazy to me. I have a couple of my own UFO sighting stories. So to start it out, this is my like craziest one I've ever seen because
you've had multiple?
Well, I've had this one, and then the one we saw in San Pasqual was a little iffy, and then the missing time one. But this is like one that like I stared at for 5 minutes. So it was a few years ago. I was at a party and I was in this person's backyard. It was at night. We were all staying in a group of like 10 people, and all of a sudden in the sky I see this perfectly circled, just like sphere, like bright blue in color, like a bright blue LED light, probably like that big, but you have to picture it in the sky. So I'm watching it, and it goes down, and it shoots up, and it goes diagonal, back over here, zigzags down, just like in every which direction. Not a single sound is coming out of this thing. And I was staring at it for probably a minute. And
were other people seeing this?
This is where it gets weird. So I turned to everyone like, oh my god, like you guys, like look at that. What is that? Is everyone seeing that? Everyone turns, looks at it for a second, and goes back to talking. Like completely like doesn't faze them. And that freaked me out even more because I was like, I've never seen anything like this. Like the way it moved, and it was just so weird. And so I watched it for a couple more minutes. I'm like, no, like seriously, like what is this? And I get their attention again. They look at it and they're like, yeah, like we see it, and they went back to talking. That freaked me out that no one was acknowledging it like I was.
I feel like that's worse.
So this goes on for about 5 minutes, and eventually it just shoots off, disappears. we listen to so many UFO podcasts, and something I've learned is that a lot of times when there's like a group of people and someone sees one, only 1 or 2 people will really like be affected by it or acknowledge it. It's almost like the other people there, like
in a trance.
They're in a trance, like they don't, like they're not comprehending, or they're not like really like meant to understand it.
That's
so
awful.
When I heard that on these podcasts, I'm like, oh my god, that is literally what was happening, because I was the only one that was like freaking out about it. Everyone was acting like it was perfectly normal.
That's awful.
That's my UFO sighting.
I had UFO sighting. That sounds like a UFO sighting.
It was crazy, Amanda.
I had never had an experience until you and I were in San Pasqual.
That was a weird one.
I'm super torn on it, and I've talked to a couple of people about it. I just try not to bring it up. It's UFOs. We were filming in San Pasqual for a while. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out also at the battlegrounds there. And we actually drove over to a nearby Native American burial ground. And we're hanging around there. It was completely fenced in, so we just like wanted to be respectful. We were like, let's just like check it out and then we'll leave. And so we were sitting there for a little while, and as we were sitting there, we were talking and hanging out there. I don't know who noticed it.
I think one of us looked, it was either me or my mom, because we looked up at the stars. We're like, oh my god, like look at the stars. And you're like, oh, it's like this every night here.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, it's just like perfect out here. And as we're like admiring the stars, we see one of them that's much brighter than the other ones, which isn't too unusual, you know? But it's moving very slowly across the sky. Like it's not a shooting star, it's just staying in a straight line for a very far distance.
Like we watched it go so far, and the thing was, it was way, way higher than a plane. Like,
but it wasn't blinking like a plane. It was not.
And so
it wasn't a satellite.
No, like it really wasn't. But none of us could explain it. In the area we were in, apparently there's a lot of UFO sightings out there.
So that was a little unusual, but we kind of chalked it up to, you know, it could have been, it could have not been. I was on the side of, I'd like to believe it was a satellite or something of that sort, until we had all of our equipment. Something really unexplainable happened with, I'm just going to let you explain it, because I think you can do better.
Alright, so we're looking up at this thing. Eventually it disappears. So we're like, okay, so we get in the car and we drive away. We go to Amanda's house, and when we get to your house, I realize that we're missing 2 items of equipment, like completely gone. And I'm trying so hard to focus and like try to remember where they went, because I remember looking at the star, and then I remember getting in the car, but I don't remember what happened in the middle while I was holding the equipment, like where it could have possibly gone. And I was straining my brain trying to be like, I was holding it, where did it go?
So it was super, like, it could have been in, we had 2 cars, your mom was there, I would, like, had my car there. So it could have been in my car, because you were leaning up against my car, or it could have been in your mom's car.
Yes.
So that was really it. We completely searched your mom's car, not there. Completely searched my car, not there. You drove over an hour back to San Pasqual before driving home
at like 1 or 2 in the morning
to see if it fell out of like the door or something in that cemetery parking lot.
Because I was like, the only place it could physically be would be in that parking lot if I set it on top of a car and it fell off while we were reversing.
Exactly. So that's where you headed to check for it.
I mainly, like, I don't care about the equipment, but it's mainly because I needed to know for, like, my sanity what happened to these things.
Right? Wasn't there. You end up pulling out. We're just gonna call it a loss. Like, it disappeared into thin air. Maybe one day it'll show up. And as you're driving back, before we went over to the burial grounds, we had left from the San Pasqual Battle grounds trail area, and your mom picked us up there. It still would have been in her car.
Yes, yes.
But they were on the ground, on the trail, inside of that first area.
It made absolutely no sense, because even in the video, we have all the footage of us, because they were in my hands as we were running down, and you can see us get straight into the car, and I'm holding them, and we're sitting there talking about aliens. Remember, we were sitting in the car talking about aliens, And I remember vividly, like, unlatching one of the
antenna.
Yeah, and just, like, messing with it while we were sitting in that car. So, I don't know. I feel like something happened in that amount of time from when we were looking up at the stars to when we got in the car, because I don't remember what would have happened with the equipment in that time. And then all of a sudden it's there, so.
I have no idea.
That is our shared experience. Now let's get into yours. So I found a few stories that have really stuck out to me because they are so bizarre. So this first story comes from Lily, and she actually included a video. And it is actually unexplainable. I don't know what it is, so maybe one of you guys will, but it's really weird. So she says, I was hanging out with my friend, we look out the window and we see this weird flashing light moving really weirdly, and when he got up to use the bathroom, it sounded like an airplane took off and it was gone. This is the video. Watch the way it flashes.
I know, it's like solid. Wait, what are those little tiny balls going up to it? Do you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. But look at, do you see that?
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't, it's huge.
Just
it looks
disappears.
Huge.
Gone. What is that? The way it was just like pulsating. What would that be? If anyone has any idea what would be pulsating in the sky like that, let us know, but I've never seen something like that.
Video 1, and I hate this.
This one comes from Zippy Gangsta.
Okay.
I've been wanting to share this with someone. I live in Georgia. A few years ago, I was working at a Taco Bell at the time, and I was walking home from working the night shift. Love that already.
3 a.m. Depending.
It had to be around 2 or 3 a.m. I was walking on the sidewalk, headed to the neighborhood I was staying in. Right above the entrance, I thought I saw balloons because the speed it was moving was really slow. But I thought to myself, who's letting balloons go at this time of night? So I decided to stop and focus on it. So then it kind of looked like a kite, but thought again, who's flying a kite at 3 a.m.?
True.
So I really start to focus on it. Then when I moved over the street, it literally morphed into the traditional triangle craft that most people see when they see UFOs. I could only see the silhouette of the craft. It was a true triangle. It had round circles on each corner and in the middle. Its craft was the same color as the night sky, and the circles were the same color as the stars in the sky. And what was...
Almost like camouflaged.
Like a cloak. And circles were the same colors as stars in the sky. And what was weird, most of the street lights that were normally on were off. The daycare and the gas station to the left across the street that normally lit up were completely darkened. I've never seen anything like it before.
It's like
or
drawing
since.
Energy.
Right? Or like doesn't want anyone to see it. I don't know.
Yeah, cloak thing.
Now, I don't believe in aliens, but I do believe in UFOs because from what I saw, the craft morphed right before my eyes. So I believe the craft itself was alive. That's the only way I can describe it. And then he sketched something out that kind of portrays it, and that's the shape.
Interesting.
This happened October 5th, 2015.
That's crazy.
Right?
This one comes from Ellie. Bro, I have the weirdest one. Oh my god, just a couple of weeks ago. I was out on a boat with my friends stargazing. It always happens when you're stargazing.
Always.
And we saw these stars close to the horizon that were going in and out of focus. We turned off all the lights on the boat and really let our eyes focus, and we realized it's hundreds of hovering dim lights all arranged in a circle. As we were talking about it, I hear a noise and look, and there's a man on a kayak touching the front of our boat. He was in all black kayak, paddle, life jacket, everything was black. I had never seen a black kayak in my life. We were yelling at him like, who are you? And he was just shining a bright light at us, not saying anything. We drove away from him fast and he sat in the wake of our boat, shining the light on us after we had left. Had to have been CIA.
Oh my god. That reminds me of the Men in Black. That
You read my mind.
Literally. Like, so many people, after they have experiences, they get visited by these Men in Black.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They get visited by these Men in Black who basically are there to try and, like, cover it up.
how do they know who've had these experiences?
I don't know. A lot of people think they're like not real people, like they're robotic or like aliens themselves. It's like a whole nother topic.
We might have to just go deeper into this.
Right? It goes so deep, Amanda.
Oh my gosh.
This one comes from Madison. Hey, so kind of confusing, but my uncle's ex-wife's dad does fencing in the Utah area. So the person who owns Skinwalker Ranch, if you haven't heard of it, you should totally look it up. I love Skinwalker Ranch, just saying. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely watch it. It's really weird, but...
I'm just starting it, 2 episodes in, so...
Basically, there's been many UFO and skinwalker sightings there, as well as many unexplained things such as cattle being mutilated with no blood. Odd things like that. Well, there's also a rumor that you're not supposed to dig on the ranch because bad things happen when you do. Her dad put a fence in and the next day had a heart attack. ... Coincidence?
No.
And if you watch a show, whenever they dig, someone gets hurt.
I'm an expert on my episode 2, and that's like what they were talking about right now, is the person who came on who's like the now like helping investigate kind of the he's like trying to disprove things, you know, like he wants to start digging, and there's one person super against it. He had like this unexplained medical phenomena where he literally had to get part of his skull, like major surgeries.
It like swelled up like into a cone shape out of nowhere. So
and, yeah, they couldn't explain why. They're lucky that they could fix it, like miracle. So he's super against digging. I don't know if they've dug yet, but I did see, obviously, in the footage of the show, like, it's completely fenced in, this property. I never even thought that somebody would have to fence it in.
That's all the stories for today. If you guys like this video, let us know, but...
Those were all just insane. These scare me. Like, the paranormal ones are one thing, but the UFO ones, something about it, just them being unexplainable. Now talking about it, I'm worried I'm gonna have an experience. If you guys want us to do more UFO stuff, more stories, send us your own in, let us know in the comments. There's actually a UFO hotspot near where we are right now. We have a friend of ours who's willing to take us, I don't know, camping out there, but definitely willing to take us out there and show us what's going on.
So that might be coming in the future.
If you guys like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button.
Other than that, thanks for watching and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.